Okay, hello friends. Hello, hello. Oh, sorry, it's so loud, the music. Hello. Kiwi jump scare. Yeah. Kiwi just wanted to say hi with Kiwi. But he wants to leave for sure. Hello, hello. Oh, you can stay here if you want, Kiwi. Hello, let's see who is here. Shonies, hello. William, hello. ODM, Funky, hello. Woo, so much fur. Hello there, my late night Europors. 50 Thawkin months, hello. ODM, thank you. Oh, Mr. Omnitype, hello. How's it going, Garrett? Hello, Ewan, Epsilon, hello. Upas, good to see you at KeyCon. Missed you at KeyCon, Mr. Jeeber. Hello, XSunnyD, XD, hello, hello. Mason 47, thank you. You buy the lifestyle, not the product. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Clever, hello. How's it going? Where do you get those frames? These frames? These are, I think these are Ray-Ban frames, but I got them like secondhand. I just liked what I saw at a store and I just looked them up on, I forget if it was eBay or something else, but yeah, I got them secondhand. Wow, Mr. Fancy Water Drinker. It's just a normal Stella Artois glass that was like free, but there's just normal water in there. I know we miss y'all too. Yeah. While you were away, I acquired an Apple Extended Keyboard 2 and some Blue Alps. Ooh, very nice. Very nice. Time to wait for AIO3 to drop the Lunar 3. One day, surely, AIO3 is gonna drop some new Alps boards. One day. Okay, let's get started. So tonight is gonna be fun. We can talk a little bit about KeyCon. We can do a kind of like short, quick recap of it. And then we can talk about the keyboard that we will be building. It will take a little longer than usual. I will be lubing the plate, as well as the stabs and all that, of course. But it's an EC build, so it's, you know, starting this from scratch, but just kind of to cover kind of all the bases of an EC build, right? So I guess let's get started with just KeyCon first. So KeyCon, if you didn't know, was this past weekend. It was held in Washington, D.C. Originally, KeyCon started as a community event organized by, I guess, Keycaps community members. Oh, Mr. Alex, hello. Thank you for the raid. Wow, that's a big raid. I'm not sure, but yeah, so for those who are not familiar, KeyCon is this big meetup. Well, now it's a big meetup. It used to be a pretty much small friends meetup back in the day. Like, in fact, one of the original KeyCons was held at someone's like house, you know? Like, it was just like a small gathering, and that was because, you know, basically the organizing for that had kind of like fallen through, and then like it was kind of like organized impromptu at Mr. Joey Quinn's house. But anyway, that's like part of the history of KeyCons. But you know, it was done in Chicago a few times, Philly, Pittsburgh, New York, and then last year, Novel Keys brought it back for 1 year in Utah and Salt Lake City, and then there was an announcement that they wanted to move it to Germany because GMK wanted to sponsor that, and people in the States were like, we kind of want this US-based meetup still, and so it kind of came back to community. So it was a community organized in DC this year, and that happened this last weekend. It was a event on Saturday. I went to DC with my partner down on Friday and came back on Sunday, It was pretty nice. It was pretty sweet. Lots of representation from kind of all segments of the hobby. I saw a chunk of vintage. I saw a lot of artisan representation for sure, because, you know, like a lot of the kind of like older community members who dabble in artisans, as well as a lot of makers, started off in Geekhack, and so KeyCon, being a Geekhack sort of involved event, also attracts a lot of people. And also the DC and a lot of the East Coast communities also have pretty heavy artisan representation as well. So definitely saw a lot of artisan representation. And then we saw a lot of keyboard representation as well. Booths from various vendors, as well as different groups from different regions. Like I saw like Chicago mechanical keyboards, I saw New York City mechanical keyboards, and then of course I saw Mr. Upas with the rest of the Can Keys team. I saw Clever repping Omnitype, and then a bunch of others. I saw Drop, Mr. Hoffman-Meister also representing Drop, and a bunch of other makers and whatnot. So it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. Wow, Diego looking cute. Wow, is that like a? I don't see raid messages often from Alex, so the fact that he felt compelled to say something like that after the raid. Thank you so much for the raid, Alex. I really appreciate you. Anyway, so yeah, I got to check out some of the DynaCap stuff before. Originally, my first exposure to the DynaCap stuff was actually at the Seoul Mechanical Keyboards Expo, and then recently at KeyCon, actually, Clever brought out a lot of these dome samples, of which I grabbed a ton. There's some of these lighter ones, and then there's some of these 45-gram like ones that I grabbed. And actually, I grabbed a bunch because I need to replace a bunch on my HKB. Because they got squished during storage. So this one's fine, but I have another HKB Pro 1 whose dome got squished. So anyway, if you wanted to cover all the photos from KeyCon though, there are quite a few from different. I can post a few links for a few of the photos from KeyCon. Basically, a bunch of people took photos and put them into different albums, and so I can sort of, you know, post a few links in the chat if you want to see photos, but basically I'll post a few, you know, I'll post a few here. There's a bunch. So there's a few links of a lot of the KeyCon photos. So, you know, tons of links there. And you can check out a lot of the photos of the event. But yeah, a lot of people, really well organized. Honestly, props to the organizing team and to the volunteering team who helped with the organizing. It was honestly a really nice event. And yeah, I really have no complaints as per the organizing. There were interesting panels. There was, let's see, I think I was part of the first panel, which was it started at 11, and it was about keycap designing. Like key sets and stuff like that. In that panel, it was myself, Oren Keeps, no pun intended, Silent. Was that 4 of us? I mean I think it was 4 of us. And then there was a Switch Force Curse panel by Thurman Goat. And then there was a panel on the artisan community, specifically relating to collectors, old and new. And there was one with the makers, a variety of makers, Gaff Caps, Kudos, Booper, was it Wheat? No. Was Wheat in the first one? I actually get the panels confused. But there are a few Hello Caps and Chad, a rubber hose. And then the last one was about DIY, like hand wire type of keyboards. It's pretty cool, but I didn't get to attend all of the panels, but there are a lot of interesting panels. And then obviously downstairs there are like all the tables with all the keywords and stuff, which you can see in the photos. Anyway, pretty fun. So it was great. So that was kind of KeyCon. Other than that, like other than the meetup, there were like gatherings at like different places. People went to eat, people went to breweries, just to like drink and have fun, things like that. And then I just toured a little bit of the city during the morning on the day back, and then just came back on the train. So, and then back to work. So that part sucks, but here we are. All right. But alas, Clever was indeed at KeyCon, and I did see the Blue Ridge there, and I've seen it before. But today will be a fun time building the Blue Ridge from Clever Keeps. This is just a box here. It says "Do It Your Way" on one side, cleverkeeps.com. There's a logo at the bottom, and then again the website on the side. I kind of like jam-packed a bunch of the stuff that was separately in a bigger box in here, just because I wanted to keep all the things together without losing them. So this packaging is not final by any means. So just, you know, take it with a grain of salt. I did have to unpack a few things just because I needed to like take a look that everything was here. So again, big grain of salt. I believe the only final packaging that we will see today is going to be for the DynaCap medium domes, which is kind of like this sliding box. We will check that out shortly. And then I have a bunch of these 1U sliders. These are EC to MX compatible sliders. These come in this nice, what they call Ember colorway with 18 count. But again, I believe this is also not final packaging. Then we have 2U wires and sliders. Then we have the stabilizer housings and sliders as well for the spacebar. We got some silicone silencing rings, 0.5 millimeter thick. More sliders and more sliders. So what we see here is the adventure theme for DynaCap. Yes, so there are two themes, if I recall correctly. It was this theme, which comes, I guess, in Pine and Ember, and then there would be a OEM theme kit, which would come in Grage and Red, if I recall. And then we have the smoke gray unit. I already took it out of the plastic here. So we have a zippered case, bag, whatever you want to call it. Put this on the side for a sec. And yes, it says DOEMS. It's DOEMS. So you can say it as DOEMS, or you can say it as what is that? DOEMS. Like a pun on OEM, like OEM, you know, OEM parts. So DOEMS. You can say DOEMS or DOEMs, whichever way you prefer, but it's a little fun wordplay on that. We have conical springs, which are gold plated, actual gold. And I was joking with Clever that I was just gonna melt them. But anyway, so we open this here, and we got our EC plate, which is cut out of a block of Delrin or POM, P-O-M. Is it like polyoxymethylene, or I forget what the exact thing stands for. Something like that, some polymer, you know, basically like polymer plastic. And then we have our PCB. So the PCB is designed by Sipulat. So for the Blue Ridge, we have an MX and EC compatible hybrid PCB. It is indeed your standard thickness, 1.6 millimeter typically. And so this will support, you know, MX compatible switches, as you can see. We have also PCB mount stabilizers, but you also have EC compatibility. Super cool. But yes, clear FR4 with copper exposed. Very neat, kind of a first of its kind, I believe. For EC and MX to be compatible in a singular PCB. Typically you would see a lot of that as being separate, but you know, very, very, very cool. So the Blue Ridge, you will be able to do MX builds as well as EC builds, obviously depending on your configuration chosen. I shall take out the plate from here. So here we have our plates. So the plate was actually really the highlight for me when I first saw it at the Seoul Mechanical Keyboard Expo. It's that, you know, we've seen other plates like this, and, you know, the only other place that you really see this, right, was like on the HKB, which is integrated, right? And then, you know, we've seen stuff like this for the Heavy Grail by Mr. Norbauer. But now Clever is bringing us a new kind of custom EC plate. This is indeed milled out of a, you know, piece of palm plastic, or block rather. But what's very cool about this is that this is really perfectly optimized, you know, some revisions TBD kind of thing. But basically, the cool thing about the housings on this is that they see no interference with things like GMK keycaps, which is a typical problem for a lot of Toper things, right? Like, you can't really use cherry profile stuff because you will have collisions between the keycap bottom part and the housing. The plastic housing, right? And so that's typically what happens when you do an MX compatible sliders in a regular Toper board. You will have some collisions, especially in the middle row, in the center row, the home row, where the keycap is the lowest on the inside. So this plate sort of optimizes for that, and you don't get that kind of keycap to housing collision. But, you know, very, very nice. As you can see, Clever Keeps logo, and then the Blue Ridge engraving in the middle. And then you have these very nice openings as well for the sliders. There are a few other unique features as well. For example, you have this part right here. So over here, you will have your 2U slider for the stabilizer, and then, you know, the wire kind of gets slotted on this rail portion here. And then you can use these stabilizer retainers. These are these singular pieces that sort of hold the wire there, hold the stabilizer portion with, you know, basically you put little screws there and you stop as soon as you hit some resistance. But basically they kind of retain the whole assembly of the stabilizer in there. Very, very cool. But yeah, Clever has been working on this for some time, and seeing it in its near final form is quite nice. Really, really nice. Would screws be easy to strip? I assume this, I mean, this is quite thick, so I mean, I guess if you are not very careful, you could definitely, you know, strip things. But I personally have dealt with a lot of other plastic things, from polycarbonate cases all the way to like other plates and, like, you know, like just random things I found in the shop. And honestly, stripping these is mostly out of carelessness, I would argue. I've had many different cases over time, and I haven't really stripped any of them, other than maybe, like, I mean, I've stripped like my HKB like supports like twice. But yeah, I think if you're careful, like if you don't like over tighten things, I think you'll be fine. But it is better than polycarbonate, yeah. Okay, so, and then we have we have a pair of chopsticks, sort of plays into the whole Real Force chopstick thing, I think, if I recall correctly. You know, if you would like to practice using chopsticks, you know, or if, you know, but kind of more like the Japanese style, which has a pointed, like a more pointed tip, and I believe these are quite nice actually, but it also still has the Clever logo on there. Better use those for your screws? You bet I will. You bet I will. All right, let's see what's next here. We have a goodie bag, has a few stickers, very nice. We have these friction fit tabs for the plate. I mean, for the plate, which is so that we can mount this. We have this kind of thumb screw for friction fitting things. We have a daughter board cable. We have the 2U wire retainers. They're the little pieces that just retain the wires. And then we have hardware. It's a real force thing, yes. I think these are bump-ons, and we have more friction fit tabs. These are just different hardness. So these are 50A, and the other ones were, I believe, 70A. Okay, we'll put that there for now. Feet pics. Yes. Oh, more stickers. Oh, I believe I put this in here because I was like, I don't want to lose anything. More stickers. Put that on the side for now. Okay, open this guy up. All right, so here we have our board. Comes in a nice sleeve. So today's build is the smoke gray colorway. I believe there are 5 colors for the production of the Blue Ridge, and this is the smoke gray colorway. So Blue Ridge features a nice kind of panoramic landscape view of the Blue Ridge Mountains, correct me if I'm mistaken, in North Carolina, correct me if I'm mistaken, which also features a nice sunrise and a nice tree. Anyway, so we have a mix of polished and blasted parts. Very nice. Very, very cool. And then we kind of have like this orographic map portion on the inside. And then a quote engraved. "The mountains are calling and I must go," by John Muir. And a Clever Keeps logo engraved on the interior. And we have this portion with the daughter board and just a slot for the cable and whatnot to go there. We have a centered USB port. And in case you didn't recognize, the blockers are differently sized, meaning that this is in 6U spacebar configuration. So this will have a longer blocker on the right side compared to the left, and they'll use a 6U centered stem spacebar. The topography is inspired from a favorite spot in the Blue Ridge Mountains. They're not random lines. I'm sure it's not random if you're designing it, right? At least I would prefer that it's not random. I think a lot of people tend to put some nice little touches, right? Personal touches. Like, you know, you can see some personal touches. You can see some peaks over there. Here is your side profile. Your side profile is kind of a shelf with a nice filleted line here. And then slight, I guess it's like a soft chamfer, inverted, but you know, there. And then we have a nice sort of like almost like ergonomic posturing for the front portion here, where I can't even call it a lip, but it almost feels like your hand or your wrist would just kind of naturally stay there. But pretty nice as well. On the thicker side for bezels, certainly not as thin as the HHKBs, as you can see. The HHKBs are like razor thin bezels on the sides, and so this one actually seems kind of even on the top, on the sides. So, all right. So anyway, if you would like to visit the Blue Ridge Mountains, I'm sure you can ask Clever about visiting the Blue Ridge Mountains. I'm sure they are lovely if you're a person who enjoys nature. So, on your next North Carolina visit, you may consider that. And perhaps you might say, "The mountains are calling and I must go." Manga. Oh, hello. Whoa, Lamp with the raid. I didn't even know you were streaming. Thanks for the raid, Mr. Lamp. How are you? How's post-KeyCon depression? Did you have fun? I hope you had fun. I was building my Dolch. Oh, nice, nice, nice. How do you like it? Do you like the Dolch? I like mine, but Where do you get the blue HKB mods from? I got them from someone who dyed them. I basically sent out a set of OEM caps to someone and they dyed them. This was like back in like 2017 probably. Back when I was interested in getting some blue HKB mods, and I was like, I want some blue ones. And so I just sent a set of OEM caps to dye. They're just dye with like, what is that, RIT dye or whatever? Standard dye. I got them from someone who died. Oh god. Oh my god. Ain't no way. Which sounded bad. Thank you. I certainly wouldn't say such a thing. Anyhow, so as you can see, it has columns for that friction fit gasket mount. So you can see. Okay. So Clever did send me a variety of resources here to build along with, and I can show you some of it. Perhaps this is the best way. Got them from an estate sale, Monka. That's how I got my second set of classic retro. Has some age. I do like the dollars now that I rebuilt it. Ah, cool. I swapped PCPs on now to GAT yellow case 3 on PC. Ooh, sweet. I think mine just has MX wax on. I'm gonna say palm, but I'm not sure. Was it polypropylene maybe? Maybe it was polypropylene. Hi, Clownfish. Alright. So I like, it was originally a PDF, but the PDF was like kind of slow in loading because it was like hosted in the Adobe server. And so I just downloaded it, or rather took a screenshot of like big images and put them into like a gallery. So here it is. Here's a build guide. It's a build guide. Blue Ridge, a trail guide for your board, 2025 edition, 6U HKB friction fit EC/MX, designed in North Carolina with love by Clever. So there's a whole thank you note. If you get the board, read the thank you note. I actually enjoy reading them. But basically, yes. He goes on to make a clever pun about a mountain ridge, something being clever about it, and then something about talking, they're talking about their first keyboard design, and they had been making EC conversion kits for MX boards and decided to essentially make an impossible board, which was an O-ring mounted HKB layout EC keyboard, and that's how the Blue Ridge was created. And so it's been a lot of revisions, and Blue Ridge has turned out to be quite the endeavor. And I hope that as much work went into the process of designing this, I hope that I can enjoy it as much as I build it. So anyway, I will move forward from this. You can read it when you get the board, if you get the board. Contents, basically there's a table of contents, and base kit shows all the parts, talking about pre-assembled and other stuff, all the different parts. I'll skip through that. Visual things, so basically screws and weights and how things go together. Oh, is this too small? Sorry, I'll make it bigger. How about that? Boom, bigger. So diagram, feet and weight assembly, which are already assembled, so I don't have to do that myself. But if you happen to take it apart for whatever reason, you can put it back together thanks to these steps. EC versus MX shows you what the EC kit overview is. MX kit options, there will be a 4.5mm plate for MX, which means thick plate. There will also be a 1.5 traditional millimeter plate, which will feature gummy O-ring mount. And then, so talking about the MX kit build process, basically shows you how to do the O-ring thing, just shows you the guide through. And then EC kit, what's included, shows you what's included here. Blue Ridge EC plate, friction fit tabs, which we have, weight retainers, screws for the retainers, and actually, should that say weight retainers, or should that actually say state wire retainers? Ah, I found a typo. It should say wire retainers. Wire retainers. So yes, wire retainers. I was like, weight? That's not a weight. And a friction fit tool, which is a large M4 thumb screw. Okay, very cool. And basically parts that you'll need. Tools and lube recommended. Things like scissors and tweezers and different lubrication things that you might prefer to have around. Today I'll be using TriboSys 3204 and 205G0 basically, and then an introduction to DynaCap, which it is the EC part sort of endeavor that Clever is doing, along with OmniType. And then talking about the friction fit tabs is basically what serves for like the gummy O-ring mount sort of feel, and it basically explains how to put them on. We can talk about this. I'll come back to this part later. Stabilizers, suggestions on how to assemble them, and then spacebar stabilizers. I'll also come back to that. 1U sliders and domes and springs, PCB installation, and finally setup, calibration, and other details. And then there's a photo of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Very lovely. And that's it. That's the back, I believe, of the manual. All right, so I guess I will start from here. I'll hide this now, and let's get started, shall we? Okay, so it's been a minute since I've done an EC build, have I? Actually, I don't know if it's been that long, but it's been a little bit, right? Okay, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is maybe I should lube the plate, get the long part of the stream sort of done, and then we'll, you know, pop our silencing rings and our 1U sliders in. We'll do the stabs, and then we'll do domes and the rest, right? So let's get started with that. So for lubing the slider portions, I have these little micro applicator thingies. Basically I use them because they provide a nice and even and easy application of the lube, and they don't shed. And also I prefer them to a brush, because a brush, when you first brush, it tends to leave a larger amount of lube first, and then you have to like spread it. But with these I don't have to worry so much about that. And yeah. In the meantime, I will also show you how these boxes are packed. So basically they're taped on one side and not on the other, and you know, you can just rip the tape here. I mean, you could do it with your hands too, but I'll just do it with a knife here. And then you can basically push this, like it has a little portion where you can push the box and you slide it, and there you have your domes. So I believe these are not the production color, is that right, Clever? I believe the production color for these 45 gram-esque domes will be red, but we have our 45 gram rated OEM-like domes. They come in these nice boxes in sets of 6. So again, very nice and easy to open this box, but yeah, pretty nice. And then on this side, in this case I don't have to open it from the other side, but we also have a box full of our wonderful gold-plated conical springs. These are stacked on top of each other. So, but there we have our conical springs. So these will be what enable the EC part of it. And then we have all these other tools. So let's start. Okay, so I'm gonna go grab and my jar of 3204. Is it recommended to lube those springs? Is it not necessary? I'm personally in the camp that doesn't. I personally think that if you place them normally on the inside of your dome, typically depending on the dome shape, the experience may vary, right? So in the case of these DynaCap domes, the shape has been optimized so that the spring sort of slots in very nicely and easily on the interior part of the dome. So you can sort of see, like, it's a very like subtle and nice detail that I've seen, but you can sort of see how the domes have a very slight divot in the middle that basically allows, you know, it's like right here, right? It basically allows for the conical spring to really nicely sit in there, so they kind of like auto align themselves. And so in my case, because of quality of life improvements like this, I don't think you will have to do anything to do with the springs. Some people suggest things like lubing springs so that they kind of like stick to the PCB slightly, or lubing the PCB slightly so that the springs stick to it, to basically prevent misalignment. Ever since I started working with EC stuff, which is basically since the beginning of the hobby for me, I haven't had to do it. If something is misaligned, I just go ahead and reopen and align it again. But typically it's not many or not that big of an issue. So I would say it's kind of like skill issue, but you know, I think in this particular case, I don't think you'll have to. Some people recommend it. I personally don't. I never have recommended it really, but some people are very insistent on doing it. So, you know, let them do whatever they want to do, right? And yeah, it does, yeah. As Abaddon says, it adds an extra variable to the whole process. And I personally don't like extra variables, and so I don't. And you know, it's a matter of consistency, I guess. I think with lube, especially, like anything like very oily, it tends to be messier the more you do that. And so I personally would not. Okay, so for lubing the plate, I'm starting slow now, but I'm just gonna show you. Essentially, you guys want to lube. Sorry, this portion here. You see this part is where the slider will go in. And sorry for the lighting here and the focus. And this other opposite portion there, basically, you know, this portion and that portion is basically what you're going to be lubing on each side. Very lightly, as light as possible in my opinion. I personally say like one very thin coat is more than enough. Obviously it's a matter of preference. I tend to prefer my toper to be very lightly lubed. So that's why I use these micro applicators, and so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Do you recommend lighter lube like 3204 versus 205? Personally, yes. Some people say otherwise. I personally prefer lighter on lube. Some people might even say 3203. So for the shape of EC plates, the channels kind of have like these two divots, and so I basically do a single pass on one, like in, out, and then single pass on the other, in, out, and then that's it. And then as I move along on the plate, I put my index finger, or you know, whichever you want to use to track, whichever one you have lubed or not, I tend to track with my other hand which ones I've already done. And you know, you'll just go ahead and do it one by one. Flip it over. So same thing, I just slide my hand over. Maybe I'll just put it here. Do you go with glasses? Did I miss those, or are those new? Oh, I just wear glasses at home, and I wear contacts pretty much everywhere else. So if you see me outside, you will almost always see me with contacts on, except maybe late at night when I switch to glasses. So yeah, I wear glasses like basically anytime I'm home and stuff. or like if I'm doing work late and things like that. But I wear contacts most of the during the daytime, like for work. Also for work, because I sometimes need to wear like safety goggles or safety glasses and things like that. It's more comfortable to have contacts on than having to wear like prescription stuff. So I avoid wearing glasses if possible if I have to do that. And I do work in a shop / lab like setting, so it's not uncommon for me to be wearing like PPE for it. Dry lube best? Oh, RO59 on sliders. That could be done for sure, yeah. I think it's a matter of patience, I guess, if you're into that. Into putting all the, you know, brushing them all and making sure they cure. And depending on how many layers you want to do. If you're doing more than one layer. Or 2 or 3 or whatever. It takes time. But I'm sure it's nice. Kind of preserves a lot of the more stock sound and feel. I personally am actually not a huge fan of stock taupe, both in feel and in sound. So I personally am not a huge advocate for dry cure lubrication. The same actually goes for MX for me. I'm not a huge fan of completely like stock, like sound and feel. So it's like I can enjoy it, but not like it's not my #1 choice. Typically. 16 layers. Crazy. Are you gonna do just an EC build, or are you planning to do an MX build too? This will be just EC. Clever, I'm not sure. Are you planning on having other people do MX? Perhaps. Didn't Alex also do something before? Alex Otos did the MX build before. Yeah, that's right. So I guess there you have it. So I guess EC only for now, and Alex has done an MX one before. I'm a fan of Alex's stuff, so, you know, go and check out his content. Also, he pumps out so much work. So. Okay, one row is done. Moving on to the second row now. First lightning stream. Oh, really? Hello, Blazes. Hello. How are you? Welcome, welcome. If you have any questions, let me know. For anybody who is new, or if you happen to have any kind of questions about either the build process, what I'm doing, what things mean, what you know, anything that you might feel like you want an explanation about, feel free to ask questions. Never hesitate to do that, because I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, duh, you don't know that. And I'm like, well, sometimes people just don't keep up with everything. Or like, you can't possibly know everything. Sorry, are you lubing? Yes, I am lubing. I am lubing the rails where the sliders go. So I'm just moving one by one on the plate. So basically the sliders sit in here, right? And so it's easier to lube the plate than the sliders themselves, because the sliders have very like these tiny legs. A lot hard to lube more consistently than the plate itself. It's no different from, like, let's say lubing the housing on an MX switch, right? It's kind of like the same idea, but the reason people prefer to just use lube stems is because the stems have much larger surface area to work with. When you like, you know, and also they're not like that hard to grab onto. How's it finishing on the slider rails? Looks good to me. It looks fairly smooth. It's made out of palm. And it doesn't feel rough, particularly. But also I'm using this micro applicator, which is kind of hard to like... I mean... It doesn't feel... It feels pretty smooth on the inside. Is this wireless? No, it's not. This is not wireless. Way too much money and time was putting to making those rails perfect. Yeah, I'm sure. Must have been a real pain in the butt. I have to say, you know, as far as I've seen like things like, you know, we've seen things like the heavy grail, right, like by Norbauer, and we're seeing things like this, right? And when I think of people kind of who decide to do this endeavor of like engineering this thing and going through the whole iterative process of prototyping, sampling, trying it out, testing, doing it all over again, getting feedback, right? You know, testing it yourself, getting data, it's painstaking, and honestly it takes a very special work ethic and personality to really carry through the whole thing. It's honestly like I have a lot of respect for it. It's very cool, but yeah, it definitely takes a very special kind of work ethic to like really accomplish all that and like actually bring it to, you know, fruition, functionally, and I guess personally too. Like you kind of have to feel like emotionally okay about like, oh, it's like if I'm gonna put this out there now, I have to feel it's perfect enough, or good enough rather. It probably never is perfect to designers or creators' perspective. I love to have a Nord board, but yeah, too rich for my blood. I mean, I guess the housings are more accessible, but yeah, definitely. Like if you consider the Seneca, that's pretty expensive, yeah. We're like halfway through this now. The article on the Verge about Norbauer was cool, but 3600, ugh. Okay, I personally think that defining Norbauer, like Ryan, by the Seneca is almost unfair, because I mean it's an amazing feat and all that, and you know the whole like building from the grounds up is really cool, but also like it's like ultra high luxury product type of thing. Like both on the, you have the boutique small batch brand sort of thing going on, and you have the whole labor aspect that's not particularly like optimized, you might say, and you know, the engineering aspect of it, and yeah, it's just a lot. It's almost unfair to like think that would be like a standard. So it's one of those things that it's like, it's almost like it's like when you read like a review for one of those like super luxury products, like, you know, kind of that has like maybe like, I don't know, like a watch or something. You're like, oh, like comparing a normal cheap watch versus like a super expensive one, and you see someone write about this super expensive one, you're like, oh, okay, well that's cool, and you just have to move on from it because you're like, well, I can't afford that. Did I answer that switch correctly? They're Toper switches that allow MX style keycaps. Yeah, so the sliders themselves will allow MX style keycaps, yes. This has been around for a while, but what Clever is doing is clever, in the sense that they're engineered so that there's no interference with some of the more popular profiles, or rather, at least all the ones that have been tested on it. Okay, last 2 rows now should be fairly quick. Okay, this applicator's little cotton thing he's kind of giving out. Just gonna replace to a new one. Too much loop there. Okay. Okay. All units have been produced and are awaiting shipment to vendors. Oh, that's pretty sweet. So like, there's pretty minimal amount of wait time between order and delivery. Oh yeah, so I guess I don't think did I talk about pricing? I don't think I did, right? But so pricing on this board is going to be, so there's 5 different colors. I think it can be as cheap as $385 US for MX compatible builds, and then it can be as expensive as $495 US for EC compatible builds. And then, you know, there's like a middle ground, obviously, if you want to do like around like 450-ish. That's basically, you know, basically you're looking at the 400 to 500 ballpark for cost. Hey Diego, can you build this with MX? I am building with the EC today, so no MX today. I genuinely am not sure if I'll have time to do any more builds outside of the ones that I have scheduled for this week and next week. I am moving in like a couple of weeks. So we already started like packing and stuff, so it's just busy. Dio, can you build this with Fujitsu magnetic reeds? That would be awesome. You know what would be awesome also? Space Invaders. Space Invaders switches, pretty cool. I mean, there are PCBs compatible with Space Invaders now, I think. but not many. It's like, I think it was like a 60% drop in type of thing. If I recall correctly. Professor Lightning bought a mansion? Oh my god. Stop it. Technically moving to a smaller place. Oh, hi Kiwi. Oh my god, hi. Oh no, there's not much space. Oh, Kiwi. Hi. Oh. Oh, bye. Bye, Kiwi. He just left. He's like, there's too much shit here. I'm leaving. Was not interested in what you had to offer? Yes. Not enough good wares. I'm sure if I had a tub of churu, he would have loved it. Alright, done lubing those. So pretty much done with the sliders there. Alright, so I guess the next portion here now is we have silencing rings and sliders, so we can put those on now. DynaCap sliders do not have clips on purpose. Do not tilt the plate over. Oh, that makes sense, right? Because you know, you're building it upside down anyway. Alright, so we have 18, 36, 54, and then there's gonna be 3 stabilized keys, right? So I just need 57. Clips off and broke off and left plastic bits in the build that you discover after assembly. Okay. Got it. Okay. Alright. So we got our sliders. Alright, so these are silicone silencing rings. Obviously they come in these full like button shape. I hope you're enjoying this hurt. Hi. I probably need to wash my hands for that. But okay, fine. Yeah, you can have it. It's fine. Oh, thank you. Oh my god. It's not visible. Okay. Alright, let's put these guys on. So one thing I noticed, these sliders are interesting. I don't know how to show this best. Is this the way to show it best? Yeah, I think that I can grab it this way, I think. Okay, let's talk about these sliders, okay? So a typical EC MX slider that I've seen is different, right? Look at the MX stem. The MX stem kind of sits above the top of the cylindrical portion, which I don't believe other stems do, correct? And also Yeah, so this the silencing ring goes basically on top part like this. It will face up. Basically, it goes between it goes between the slider and the housing of the plate. But yeah, it looks very interesting. It's a little different from other sliders that I've seen for MX compatible EC ones. So I assume this is also part of the whole no interference thing, perhaps. How do the silicone silencing rings compare to pour-on stuff from KBD fans? Okay, I cannot give you an answer for that one because I have not tried them. But I mean, if you're talking about like how they feel, I mean, they certainly just feel like silicone. So I can't tell you though. I'll have to just try them out and see how it feels. The stem sticks up a little bit more to avoid unwanted clacking, which doesn't happen often, but happened once or twice in my experience. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Also, if you hear game sounds, my partner is playing games. If it's not obvious. Wow, I can definitely hear that. These rings are 40A. Okay, so that's the hardness of the silicone. Softer than other available rings. They produce a nice thok, and had a good balance between decent EC sound and not much silencing. Okay, great. So nice middle ground. Will these DynaCap parts be available for purchase along with Blue Ridge if purchasing alone? I believe DynaCap parts will also be eventually all available through OmniType. Is this correct? You can purchase Dynapacks with Blue Ridge. Dynapack reminds me of like Tetra Pak or something. Also, hello, Frank the Third. How are you? How you been? I've been alright. Recently came back from KeyCon this week. Honestly, at work has been kind of quiet for me. Mostly quiet in the sense that I've just been like post meetup, like slumped. So, but it was a good meetup. It was a lot of fun. Saw a lot of old and new faces. Like, you know, for the first time in a long time, I gathered up with my oldest keyboard community friends. So I started my keyboard journey down in Washington D.C. actually. My first keyboard meetup was on December 3rd, 2016, and this was the first time I think I saw them all together. Well, at least the first time in a long time. In like, you know, many years. And so that was nice. Kind of going back to my roots, so to speak. The marketing justifies itself. So you have so much going on with the whole DynaCap stuff, Clever. So I believe, okay, correct me if I'm mistaken. So with OmniType, you are also doing EC Bower Light, rather. And then with CanKeys here, we are, you know, doing the Blue Ridge limited pre-order. And then I'm assuming you have other projects coming through both your store and perhaps other vendors. Oops, almost dropped that. That's right, there'll be EC Bower Light, but DynaCap is bigger than that for sure. Yeah, there's quite a lot going on. Patiently waiting on the derivative EC kit. I mean, Blue Ridge obviously is very different from like a, you know, retrofitted EC type of kit, right? Because, you know, when you retrofit something, you're kind of working with, you know, by design it's MX, and then you're trying to like fit the whole mounting process to EC. Any TKL that supports OEM EC can use DynaCap. Yeah. It's gonna be nice. Definitely all this new EC stuff is super like invigorating for that side of the hobby. So it's been really cool to see it kind of up and coming. And as you can see, my EC, like, I guess, like personal collection stuff has pretty much been exclusively OEM. Like aside from builds that I've done for other people, / like, you know, vendors and like prototypes and things like that. Like it's been pretty exclusively OEM for my own. I haven't really like gone into the whole like purchasing EC kits for specific boards that were originally designed for MX. Just kind of liked OEM and stuck with it. Not that I ever felt it was wrong to do that, but yeah. Just kind of stuck with it. Yes, I built Serdroya. Yeah. I built it with the early domes. Well, I had some samples, right? Yeah. That said, we're pretty much there. The parts you see on stream now are almost perfect. Yeah. There's some issues with the 2U sliders you may notice, or not. One part left to fix and we get new samples next week. Yeah, that's awesome. You guys are pretty much on top of it, so I'm not even very worried. Considering that you're noticing things pre-sales or anything like that, so it's always good. Customers get a pretty full package right from the get-go. Abaddon, I just read. I need to help Diego move his keep stuff so he doesn't have to lift a bunch of heavy stuff. It's okay, Abaddon. We're having movers. Out hell for a key set. halfway-ish done. Top side of the plate is always more work. How many sliders? How many silencing rings does this have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 35 each sheet. Yeah, so we're like halfway done. CRP, please. Does CRP even have 6U though? Oh, are you asking for a keyset from me, rather? Does CRP still run new stuff? I actually don't remember. I feel like there was that round 6 buy, and then I just don't remember ever seeing new stuff. The latter? Oh, whoops. What kind of CRP are you looking for? I thought CRP, there is a lot of it out there, generally speaking. Is it rare now? Hard to get? Maybe certain sets might be like the older ones, like R1 stuff. Although they had their issues, to be quite honest. Like some of them were kind of crooked, like the keycaps. Oop. I want to clip those stab housings before the rest of the sliders, unless you cause them to fall out. Oh, because it like bounces out. Oh, that's fair. I guess they would, huh? I don't have to like kind of hold them. Yeah, we can do the rest. Because I'm already done with the lubing part. So yeah, we can do the housings for the stabs. Okay, so stabs. Let's start with the 2Us first. Actually, no, let's start with the space bars first. Bigger bounce. Okay, so spacebar kit here has the 2 housings, has the 2 crucifix sliders. We have our bent wire 6U, and then we have these little housing gaskets. That's what I imagine. I can look through the manual just to double check the specific orientation of things, but I think I know how to. So, okay, housing gaskets go first. So they're pretty much shaped the same way as the housings themselves. I mean, as the plate side itself. So just peel it off. And then looks like, does it rounded part? Hold on. I imagine goes like this, right? So, well, this part is gonna be like this, so it's like this. Okay, yeah. Okay, so flat part to the top, and then same on this side. Flat part to the top. Okay, obviously before I clip anything in, gotta lube stuff, so let's do that. So let me grab for this one I'll actually go get a brush. And get my 205 probably. DynaCap is designed for 1.5 mil plates, but EC plates are 1.2. Many EC plates are. So they're backwards compatible with the use of these gaskets. Ah, okay. Got it. Got it. Okay, so for sliders, I just like lubing just the parts that make contact here. And then these clips will also have the wire, so I also will lube there's like this open portion here. You see that open portion there? I'll lube a little bit too, and then I'm gonna lube the wire. Any portion that makes contact is probably okay. Okay, I think these are orientation agnostic. So I'm just gonna kind of put it on like that and just kind of hold it in place like this. Do the same for the other side. Just lube the two surfaces that make contact. Lube the inner part of the wire entry point for my slider. And then gonna just do this for now. Okay, so I also want to lube the portions where the wire is gonna make contact. So the bend wire is gonna essentially kind of go like hook in like here, like inwards like this. So you basically want to lube the portions where the wire is gonna make contact on the housing, prevent some of the rattle. So I'm going to go ahead and lube some of the portions where that will occur. So I pre-decide on the orientation of the wire. So in my case, I'm thinking the wire is gonna loop in like this, and then on the other side is gonna be like this. So essentially the right side of the stab, if you were looking at it from the right side up. So just lube that a little bit, not too much. I don't really think there needs to be too much of it. Okay, and then I can just kind of keep that like that for now. Bro, first Biso thought I was... Wait, hold on. Let me read this first. Stab sliders are pretty unique compared to other EC stabs. They feature a closed loop and do not have clips. Right. Yeah, so they are different indeed. Bro, first Biso thought I was Singaporean, and then Throater thought I was Dolch. Oh, what? Okay. Can't catch a break. Would you recommend using BDC for the wires? I personally would not. I've had more than enough success using 205 for the wires and stuff for my stab lubing in general, whether it's MX or Toper actually. But some people use sticker like 206, I believe. I personally don't recommend it myself just because I feel like you just need to buy other stuff. 205 is pretty sufficient in my personal opinion, but I think everyone's experience on that may vary a little bit. Okay, so basically these are gonna go like this, and then the wire is kind of gonna hook on each side and clip on. And yeah, I think PDZ is just way too dense, just a little too much. My personal experience. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this side. So just gonna lube up to the point where it makes contact, and the rest is fine. So just till there. And then I like to be a little bit more generous towards the end of the wire, basically where it's making contact with the actual like the stem. So a little bit more lube there is fine. It'll just get kind of mushed up when it kind of goes into the clip, or not clip, but like loop, kind of like a co-star stab. And a little bit around the L bend on that. Should be enough. So a little bit heavier, right? Snap the housings in first, then loop the sliders and slot the wiring last. Oh, do you prefer that? I tend to do it all together. Then loop the sliders and then slot the wiring last. I guess that's fair. Okay, I can do that. Snap the housings in first, then loop the sliders, then slot the wiring last. Okay, let me see how this goes. And if it doesn't go well, then I'll have to just listen to you. I'll start with the wire here first. So, oh, I see now why. I see why you suggest that. Because the doesn't quite. Okay, there. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Okay, now. So now that one wire is being held on one side, or the wire is being held on one side, it's easier to work with the other, for me at least. Just try to not be too rough with it. So again, just even application of lube around the corners, basically so that it matches up with that. And then a little heavier application of lube for me on the entry portion. Okay. So I personally recommend like covering this part here when you're doing this so that it doesn't rotate and the slider comes out, which it just did slightly. As I was like working around with the wire here. So I think I see why Clever recommended just clipping it in first. Probably a better choice for this particular way of sliders. And stab housings, because they just don't clip like the OEM ones do. I'm so used to OEM, that's why. Alright, so, and then I'm just gonna do this. We'll raise it slightly. Loop it in. And then put them on. How's KeyCon? I did talk about it at the very beginning, but it was good. It was fun. All right. Yeah, it was good. I had a lot of fun. I kind of wish there was more time for it, to be honest. I went in on Friday and came back on Sunday, which felt very quick and short, to be very honest with you. Just kind of wish I had some more time to talk and hang out with some people, but it was good. I had a lot of fun. Okay. There goes the spacebar. Okay. Okay, let's do the 2Us now. So 2Us, just they are two housings as such, and two small wires as such, and then we'll also use those wire retainers that we have here. Okay, so once again, grab my brush. So for 2Us tend to be, I just do, I don't really use a syringe for toper stuff, but I just like using a brush. So I just apply it wherever I think the wire is gonna make contact. So usually the inside walls of this, like the inside walls of this portion here and then this portion here, and then we're gonna lube the wire itself. So just a little bit there. Doesn't have to be much, just enough to basically just kind of shoulder it from any kind of movement. And then we're also gonna lube a little bit on the plate itself, just to where the wire is gonna go, although it's probably gonna be fine. Yes, north-facing wire. Yeah, it is different from the south-facing stuff you see in a lot of other like OEM stuff, right? Okay. So that's that. And then, so this is kind of gonna go like this and around here. So I'm just gonna apply a little. Oops. I'm just gonna apply a little bit of lube around the wire portion right here, just a tiny bit. The channel. Same thing on here. And then, since I am anticipating using silencing rings as well, I'm just gonna place the silencing rings on there first. So I'm just gonna grab 2 silencing rings and put them where this stabilizer thingy will go. So for that, you know, just put it on in the plate area there. Easy. Diego, how do I stop yearning? I'm becoming a huge yearner. Yearning for what, Kupo? What are you yearning for? What do you mean yearning? Like what's missing, Kupo? I mean, I guess I kind of feel that way a lot. Like I'm always like yearning, like in terms of like, oh, I wish I did this, did that, learned this, learned that, had this, had that, but try not to mind it as much. But it's kind of hard sometimes. Distant memories, nostalgia. Oh, that's what you meant. Oh, I see. That's tough. I don't know. Sometimes it's fine to kind of schedule yourself some time to have the nostalgia things. Like, I mean, like recently I, you know, I like started watching Star Wars with my partner, and that's been fun. Things like that, you know, or like old games. Nothing wrong with it, I think. Nothing wrong with playing old games and watching old movies and TV shows, or even if it's like a repeat or a revisit, you know, like you've seen it before or you watch a lot before and you're just kind of like reminiscing. OG trilogy or which Star Wars? Yes, we're starting with, we're doing release order. So we're gonna do OG trilogy, new trilogy, I mean, or prequels rather, and then like Clone Wars, and then we'll move with like the TV stuff and the new movies, etc., etc., etc. I'm doing release order. Dio, can you show the back of the board? Not now. Later. I'll get to it. Not while my hands are currently busy with this. Have you seen Andor? No. So, okay. My desire to watch Andor is motivating me introducing Star Wars to my partner who knows about Star Wars but did not actually watch it, like the movies. So I was like, I told her like, hey, we should watch Star Wars. And so I want to get through all of Star Wars stuff so that I can get to Andor myself, and so that, you know, we both don't miss out on it. I don't want to just watch it alone by myself, and so I figured, why not? Watch Rogue One after Andor? Okay, I might follow that. But yeah, that's the plan, though. That's the plan. Okay, first stab is done. What are the usual mods you apply to EC boards? The main one that I would always consider is lubing stabs and lubing your plate or your housings. So usually that just involves lubing the housings on the part where the slider makes contact. I usually just do TriboSys 3204 for that, and then I use 205 for stop wires and such. Just take it apart and lube it. If you there's a few guides now. Extra Prius, please put out a nice guide for doing HKB or like Tobre modding. I also have a build stream VOD on YouTube called HKB, like I think, was it like HKB Pro Hybrid, like build stream, modding stream, something like that, and people have found that one really useful. People tend to talk about that one, or reference that one too. There's a few guides out there though that reference how to do like Tobre modding in general. Lube the PCB too, please. I never suggested that. I don't do such a thing, but I guess some people will also say to do that, but I cannot recommend it. I do not recommend it. Alright, so that went in. I guess the next thing is to put these wire retainers so that they kind of stay in there. So I'm gonna grab these. I think watching a 2021 take a Twitch bot made me nostalgic. What were you watching it for, Kupo? Was there a reason for you to watch it recently? What's this screw? This T6? No, this looks even smaller. I think a T6 might work fine. Oh no, T6 is too big. T5. T5? Would T5 work? T5, okay. Just came across my homepage, no particular reason. Oh, okay. All right, what's the orientation of these? The little tab facing up and that way. Okay. Put the screws on first. Easier that way. I'll show you guys how it looks. Okay, so okay, so that's my stab right there, and then there's this little bump on the retainer, and I just, that one faces like up or towards like the back of the, like the bottom of the board. So you just, you know, screw until you feel resistance and stop right there. But basically it will look like that. Like that. Boom. There you go. So pretty easy. So there's two of them for the two U's. 1 and 2. And then same process on this side. The pandemic days. Good old days, eh? Oh, a Diego stream. Hi, Kim. How are you? It was so nice to see you at in DC. I know it was a short time though. I didn't get to hang out with y'all much. Literally flew by. Not to mention, I also went to these panels, and like 2 hours, 3 hours of KeyCon were like gone in the panels too. Okay, now I can put the rest of the sliders and the silencing rings, of course. Yes, there's an extra in case you forget to read the instructions and too much torque and break the retainer. Yeah. It's always nice to have extras of parts. I've seen people do some terrible, not terrible, but like, you know, break things where they probably shouldn't have. Like, kind of difficult to break, but they break. I forget, did I put a silencing ring for this one? Oh yeah, I did. I see it. Okay, cool. Brunch was good at our super fancy 9. I'm surprised you remember, but yes, the Uber was nice and easy. Yeah, it would be nice to see everyone again in a setting like that. Just hang out somewhere. These meetups often feel a little too short for me. Just kind of want to have more time to like hang out with everyone. It's tough. I'm sure Clever can attest to it, but the Korea one was rough because it was like full 3 days of being there. That was just a lot. 1 day was more than enough for the meetup itself, but the pre and post though, you know, hanging out with people, going to eat, touring, hanging out, just just hanging out and about. That's the fun. Doing that with other folks in the community is really fun. Yeah, the Korea meetup though, which was like a whole 3-day ordeal, was, whew, I don't even know why the idea of having this 3-day meetup came up for the organizers over there, but whew, that one just feels like, I mean, well, to be specific, if you're a booth person, like if you're manning a booth as part of a business or maker or whatever, yeah, it's rough. It's rough. It just feels like work. The first day or the second day, like one of the 2 days is like, or one of the 3 days is like pretty okay because you're just like meeting people, saying hi, it's all fun, new things. But then the other 2 days, whew, way too much. Gets really tiring just standing or even sitting there. Other side of the spectrum, there are like 6,000 people. That's true, across 3 days that showed up. This is true though. Yeah, the attendance was kind of nuts. That's for sure something to consider, right? Obviously, the audience. How do these silencing rings feel in comparison to deskies? I have a hard time saying, like, it's they're different, right? Because aren't deskies compressible poron? So silicone just kind of already feels different. I mean, these are like 0.5 millimeter silencing rings. So, and I heard, and I was reading earlier from the chat that it was, you know, not as like 40A, I think, hardness. So it's like not too, like, it's like not mushy, but also not like a nice middle ground in between. So, and also like a balance between sound as well, like the top out being silenced. They'll be slightly softer. Deskies have silicone, they're slightly harder. Oh, okay, right. I have to say, I don't really try too many of the variety options out there. One day of yapping was enough for me. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Oh, right. I do need one more slider. $58 sliders plus the 2 U's. Alright, hard part's over, I think. These guys are moving normally, which is good. Okay, so here comes the hard part, right? So I do have these plate holding thingies from Desk Est for Topre stuff that I got it from what's his name? Nihon Jam. So I'll prop it up a little. Kind of useful. From David, yes. Those are actually super clutch. Yes, they are so nice. For torpid stuff, super handy. Okay. So, and then I assume the next thing is domes and springs, right? So, so I'm gonna clean some of this out. Okay. Just like don't want to like accidentally topple shit over. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna put the friction tabs in here. Make sure I don't miss it. The Autoport cable over there, don't miss it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab my, okay, these silencing rings can go in the bag. Empty, empty, empty. Okay. I've had to use books. Yes, I used to use books or like you know, like game cases, things like that. Anything that has similar standardish sizing. Okay. Some of that away. Alright. Alright, domes. So let's get our domes ready. Alright. Remember to cut the domes around the friction tab post? Yes, yes, yes. So friction tab posts, I assume these guys here, right? So for that I need to cut out a little pieces, small gaps in there, right? Okay. Alright. So I just need to make it the right-ish shape. Okay, so 2 and last, okay. I normally cut a triangle. Oh, that works. Okay, yeah, triangle would work too. I already did the mini rectangle. Not perfect by any means, but it's good enough. It's like little arts and crafts. Maybe Koopa, what you need is an EC build. Arts and Crafts Yearning. Good enough. Okay. Might want to fit the silicone tabs just in case. Alright. Let's not risk it. Alright, so I like to use the harder things like tabs or gaskets for a lot of these fitments. So let's try these then first. Let's see, friction fit tabs, they kind of go on like that, okay. So like this. And then just push them in, right? Okay, that's easy. Oh, that's pretty easy. Okay. Flat size face outwards. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're the shape of the plate, so. We can use the softer ones near the spacebar. That tends to be a pretty normal, typical choice for a lot of folks. So I can do that. I'll use the rigid ones at the on the sides and the top part. Okay. And then 2 more. 1, 2. I'll show you guys what this looks like in just a second, so that you don't just end up wondering what the hell I'm doing. Okay, so I got these like friction fit tabs right here, right? You see these guys here? So these friction fit tabs are fit to the side of the board. Basically, these are where the columns from the case. So the case, you know, if I bring it a little bit closer here, right? So let me move this out of the way. You know, the case basically has angle. So it has these little columns over here, right? You see those columns there? So those columns will basically match with these little tabs over here. And basically the assembly will sort of sit on these gasket portions. But yeah, these fit on the sides of the plate like that. So I have 2 of the softer ones around here. And then the rigid ones are on the periphery of the plate, on the other sides, right? So O-ring gasket is for MX builds. You can do O-ring gasket if you're doing an MX build. This is essentially replicating what the O-ring gasket here would be doing, but this is just going to be friction fit onto the side of the board. Yeah. Side and bottom, I guess. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so I was cutting domes, right? So let's go back to that. I hear Kiwi being demanding. Okay, so these ones go right here. And okay, this one is gonna have 1 cut here. I'm going through a lot of my old sets to pick out a build to make for my new office job. Oh, nice. I have a lot of old GMK sets I didn't even know I had. I think I'm gonna build a thermal sequence too. Nice. That sounds pretty sweet. Hi, Kiwi. Do you guys hear that? That's Kiwi being demanding for attention. He's so cute. Did someone say old GMK? Back off, Lamp. Back off, my boy. This guy's a savage. Goes crazy. I mean, have you seen my old GMK? Right here, old GMK. All this, right here. Old GMK. Old GMK. Yes, he is mewing. Legally, I wasn't allowed to have a PayPal till 2018. That didn't stop me. Goodness gracious. Stop this man's right now. Wait, no, that's separated by more than one U, so. I'm banned from at least 17 Wawas in the Northeast. What the heck did you do, Mr. Kupo? What is going on? What craziness have you done? What crimes have you committed? He's a menace? I mean, he is the meanest chatbot I've known. As he doesn't show up to meetups. I know that he is just a server rack boy. As per advice from counsel, I'm not at liberty to say. I see. That's cold? This is how coldly he reacts to when I tell him to come out to meetups. Koopa will not show up to meetups. What can I say? Diego, how was KeyCon? Oh, KeyCon was great. Thank you for asking. It was a lot of fun. I wish it was a longer time to hang out with folks and friends, but I had a good time. It's quite lovely. Where is Koopo even at? Stop lying, Koopo. You're like in Texas. just come out, dude. Come on. Come out to the meetups. Oh, doesn't Texas also have like gigantic meetups? Have you shown up to them too? Have you not shown up to them too, Mr. Koopo? Ugh. When are you coming out? Come out to the meets. Right, meow. Okay. Alright, Conical Springs next. I like to stay anonymous. Oh, okay, fine. I'll have to respect that one. I can't say anything about it if you want to stay anonymous. Can't say anything about it. Truly. Alright, Conical Springs. We line each one up on the plate. Where are all the meetups at? Everywhere. Every region has their own meetups. Like, you'll see New York City. I mean, mostly cities will have a lot more, right? Like big metropolitan areas, because obviously you'll have a bigger concentration of people. But like, you know, Chicago meetups are pretty big. Keep Life is a big one that happens in Pasadena. There's the Bay Area meetups, NorCal, right? There's quite a lot. Texas, Seattle. I'm not sure if Seattle has a lot of meetups anymore these days, but and then like Toronto, and then, you know, I've been to like the Korea one. I know Tokyo has some too. Yeah, there's a lot of meetups. There is a website. I believe it was a KBD News or something else, but there's a few websites that track a lot of the meetups out there. Will there be a Texas meetup at Buc-ee's? That's a good question, ODM. Anonymity and privacy in 2025? Yeah. I know, right? It's a lot to ask for. Oh my god, these tangled up springs are always the worst. Oh, this one. Friction fit tab. Yeah. This one. Yeah. I see a few. I can cut them, yeah. I can cut them now before I forget later. And this one. Stupid ads. I don't want to buy a Subaru. Fair. They're not bad cars, I think, but some people really love Subarus. Oh, Kiwi's playing. Running around with his toys now. You know, sometimes dropping the domes, the conical springs like this will like separate them because they are not tangled up clear, like by a lot. It's just like the slight overlap between the springs causes them to tangle up. So like, if you like toss them a little bit like this, they'll like split up like that. I'm more of a Mitsubishi fan personally, but the STS are cool too. I'm not a huge, that's not necessarily true. I used to follow cars a lot more when I was interested in owning one, but now that I've been living in the city and I am not really looking into it, I don't follow nearly as closely anymore. Like what the new and cool stuff is, but. I do enjoy driving though. Well, as long as it's not for a commute. Diego, do you ever have your driver's license? Yes, I've had my driver's license longer than a lot of people. I got my first driver's license when I was like, I guess in Mexico the permit was like at 15, 16. So I got my permit then, and I had my license as soon as I turned 18. So for quite some time. Yeah, I've always had a driver's license though. Actually, my first driver's license in the States was from California. I was stuck in San Diego before I had to board a flight over to be in Connecticut, where I went to school. And then I moved to New York eventually, and I got my New York driver's license. I had my California driver's license for a long time because I just kept renewing it. Do you go in? Are you visiting Boston, bro? I don't know. I don't know. Sometime. Hopefully soon. I mean, just need to figure it out. Figure out a date, I guess. And I guess, you know. Come on, Spring, separate. Also, Clever, you're still here, right? You know how you said that there were a lot of springs in this box? Well, I don't think there's that many. Not that many. Just FYI. I'm sure you noticed by now. Come on, Spring, separate already. Ah, so annoying. Is it here? No. No, is it this way? Okay, there. Oh, I have enough for the build, yeah. I just don't have enough for the favor you asked me. Oh my god, so entangled. I think it's this way. We're trying to plan a fall meetup if you want to come through. Oh yeah, maybe. Fall sounds nice. Good, better weather. If you're doing it in the winter, I'm not coming. I'm not coming for a Boston winter meetup. Imagine. Boston in the winter? Ain't no way. I used to visit Boston a lot, okay? When I was in school in college, I was in Connecticut, right? And so I would go up to Boston like pretty much like at least twice a year minimum, but many years more than that, because I had friends who went to schools there. Like I had friends at BU, BC, and a few other places. And so I would visit a lot. But yeah, no, not in the winter. Bro, New York, Boston winters? What? Are you kidding? They're not the same. Are they the same now? Maybe the Earth has warmed up enough that they're the same now. But back in my day, it was not. It was diff, for sure. Especially New York versus Boston. Like, New York was pretty warm. I guess, well, actually, I don't know. I guess people can say that New York used to be colder, but yeah. New York is cold AF in the winter? Oh, just because of the wind tunnel, yeah. If you consider that, yeah. If you consider, like, wind tunnels for like, certain areas of the city, yeah, sure, yeah, it gets kind of cold. Last in Chicago? Oh, yeah. Pfft. Midwest. Imagine, I was like this close from attending grad school in the Midwest. I'm so glad I did not. Oh my friggin' god. There was a time I was debating going to like, what was it? Was it like Mayo? So that was like Rochester? Like fucking like Minnesota? Oh god. That would have sucked. No Midwest slander allowed? Oh, come on. It's so cold. I love how all the nice things about, like, Minnesota are like, oh, great Democrat population. Great summers. Lovely. I love the Twin Cities in the summer. And then the winters hit, bro. And it's like, everyone's like, I don't even know. I don't even know how they do it out there. Y'all even have like those bridges for people in the winter. With catching strays. Anyway, yeah. Midwest, pretty cold. Pretty cold. That's all I have to say. Who will come back first, Krelbit or Jack Static? If that were the debate, definitely Krelbit wins that one. To be very honest with you. Much easier one. It's not even a fair question, I feel. Is it? Oh my god, this is like so tangled up. What the fuck? Yeah, Krelbit no competition? Yeah. I don't think there's competition on that one for sure. I don't group Krelbit into the other exiters. Same. It just the comparison is not even close. Like Krelbit's circumstances were like atrocious. It was horrible. Yeah, no. Not even comparable. Alright. All the conical springs are done. So just gotta make sure all my springs and domes are nicely lined up. Okay. And then, right? Gotta now PCB. Although the switch mod Discord is gone, right? I'm not sure. Is it gone? But I mean, it's basically inactive, quiet, whatever you want to say about it. All right, PCB. General lineup corners. Slowly lower the PCB onto a plate assembly. Okay. All right. So before I do that, I just want to make sure everything's in place. This one. Okay. Okay. Sure, I line up all the screw holes and whatnot. Okay, that's it. And now screws, right? Where's my screws? Oh my god. Okay, here. I was looking at KC Discord, Diego. Almost 6 years since last post. KC. Oh, that, oh, I see. Time for 1,000,000 screws? Yeah, a lot of screws. Okay, I'll start with relative middle. Just a slight bit, and then corners. Keep it together, not tightening at all for now. Just keeping it together, just threaded at least. Okay. I did my college in Massachusetts, so I love both equally. Yeah, I mean, I have a soft spot for New England, obviously. I love the change of the seasons there. Just generally speaking, it's such a lovely place. But I mean, part of me doesn't like fully miss the winters over there, but that's it. I'm in New York, so it's not like it's even that different. Like, not super different. Worcester has really good ethnic food, I must say. Yeah. You know, saying Worcester is like a funny one, right? It's like you can test people how to say it. Because people will be like, Worcester. It's Worcester. Like the sauce. Worcestershire. Just like you know, how to test someone who lives in New York, and you ask them to say Houston, like the road in New York. And some people say one thing and some other people say the other way. That's how you know someone has lived in New York or not, or just knows about it. I say both in the same sense to throw them off. Yeah, just like you might say the Houston people might not be used to saying Houston. You could say that's one way to distinguish one from the other, yeah. Alright, how many more screws am I left with here? I think I have a couple more. Let's see, I see one here. I haven't been counting, so I'm just looking at the rows and doing it by the arrows on the PCB. I think I got most of them. I'm missing one here. Let's see. Did I get all of them? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, there's one here. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, okay, 25, yeah. Alright, this one should be the last one then. Alright, so let's just tie in the ones that I said I never did, which were just these 4. Okay, that's it. Alright, so 2 extra screws, I think. Alright, so I have the gaskets in place. We have our domes. Everything feels okay. Wow, that feels pretty nice, to be quite honest with you. Alright. Any remnants of OG British in the US? I don't know. You guys, people, I think other people might be better at answering that question. I'm not 100% sure. Okay. Alright, what's next? So JST cable, right? I guess it's just time to put it all together now. So cable into the daughter board. If I can actually put it into the daughter board. There we go. And then into our PCB. And then we just make sure that the cable goes actually in there. And then we start with the top end here. Compress the top gaskets a little. Make sure it lines up on the sides too. And then compress and slowly lower. And boom. There it is. Southern American dialect is probably as close to British English as an American can get. Funny enough. Huh, interesting. Alright. Okay. I guess that's the build, right? So we can now put keycaps on this and try it out. I totally forgot about the chopsticks. I forgot to grab things with chopsticks. I did say I was gonna grab things with the chopsticks, but I forgot. So there's that. I'm disappointed, utterly disappointed. Yes, I can grab them in. You know, I can at least do the bare minimum, which is just to grab this case. You know, okay, fine. I'll do my best here. Oh God. Okay, this is very slippery. Can I open this with this? No, I can't. I'm just gonna cheat. I'm just gonna cheat with this. And I'm just gonna proceed to put all the other stuff back in the case. Oh, those gaskets should go. Least I can do is this. Putting the rest of the parts into the case with the chopsticks. And trying to grab a box of domes is kind of hard, but it's very, very slippery. But yeah. All right, I think that's about it though. Okay, cool. Your chopstick skills are quite impressive. I mean, grew up using them and still use them daily. So, yeah. Okay. All right. So, for keycaps, what do we want to put on this? So, for, I guess Clever has told me that, PVT caps tend to sound pretty nice on this type of build. So we can do that. The only thing is we need to make sure that our keycaps are 6U spacebar compatible, so we have to have a 6U spacebar for that. So just something to keep in mind. Is this a blue or a gray? This is a gray, smoke gray. Oh yes, where is who was it? Was it Danny FPS who asked about the backside of the board? That's your backside of the board. I don't think there's a 6U in CRP, is there? I don't remember seeing one ever. Does CRP even have 6U? I don't think so, right? Actually, let me check in one of the newer. CRP R6 probably. Yeah, I don't think they have R5 maybe. I don't remember CRP having 6U spacebars though. I'm pretty sure it was 625 and 7, right? Yeah, I remember seeing them. Yeah, no, it's all 625 and 7. Even with the more niche stuff. Oh! No, that's not true. I do see a 6U spacebar on round 5. I might have a set. There is MTNU as well. There is MTNU as well. Let me check what CRP kits I have. If you wanted to really see CRP, give me a second here. What was that? Round 6. 6 to 5, 7. No, not that one. Okay, I think the beige sets might have it, but I just don't remember. Give me I need to check my order history for that. Is it R5? Okay, I think I might have a spacebar kit for it. I can check, but what set would you want to see? MTNU Modern Dolch? MTNU Dolch from Novel Keys, or I guess my set. I think I got my set from Prototypist. But anyway, that set, MTNU Dolch, OG Dolch, does have a 6U spacebar. Actually, if you're curious about it, we can do a MTNU Dolch as well, which actually would go pretty nicely with this color. MTNU? Okay, we can do that. Yeah. Let me bring it over then. Let me bring it over. But yeah, CRP does have 6U, I think. I just need to get it too. All right, let me get MTNU first. We can go from there. BRB. Okay, I'm back. Alright, so I got MTNU over here. Let's see. Let's try it out. I have it in 2 separate bags because I took it off a different board. Here's some of the alphas. And let me just make sure I got my 6U bar here. This is 6U. Yeah, I think that's 6U. Okay, that's 6U. Okay, and need a few extra things here. Short shift. Maybe that novelty, why not? Alright, let's mount some stuff up first and go from there. Okay. Can we do CRP afterwards? Let me check if my kids have it. The thing is, I'm not sure if I have the child kit that has it, so I'll have to look. But yeah, we could try. Here. What was the are those on the HKB? These are by what's his name? Mitch capped. Pretty sure. To turn off the AC when we do the typing stuff. Topper stem? What do you mean? These are MX. On the Blue Ridge. On this one, this is Topper, yeah. Playing COD with the boys, decide to sell the next game to hear the typing test. Oh boy. Well, I'm sorry. Oh, there's my backspace. Okay. This honestly looks really good. Not generally a fan of non-cherry style caps, but I like this. Yes, I will say that MTNU really looks and feels really nice. I too would say I'm a bigger fan of cherry caps in general, but MTNU is it's solid. It's really nice. This is really nice. Okay, we can put a couple of artisans on this, I guess. Don't know what to put on this. I'll put something to go with that teal. Is that kind of good? Something like an accent, and then I'll put a gray cap to go with the Dolch. Alright, let's do that. Alright. Okay. Okay. And I also need to calibrate this, so let's see. I believe for that I just need to open VIA and do it over there. So VIA. Okay, Blue Ridge shows right up. Hybrid tools, calibration. It's bottoming calibration, right? And then I toggle off, and I think that's it, right? Should be good enough. Okay, cool. Go to actuation and set to EC. Oh, my bad, my bad. Did I not do that right? Do I need to redo it then? Click on apply and save changes. No burst? Oh, okay, okay, okay. Might need to redo calibration, but not sure. Let me see. Seems fine, but I'll just do it again. Why not? All right. Yeah, Sib would know. Okay, cool. I think that's good. All right. I think that's good for that. Could unplug this for a second. Okay. All right. Yes. Moment of truth. Let me get that AC off. It's kind of loud right in the background. Whenever it decides to turn off, it'll turn off. And all right. Sorry about any additional noise in the background. And let's see. Let me adjust the mic here. Okay. Get the music off. And okay. Pull that up. What does this say? Okay. The PCB also having blockers allowing you to see. Allow the way to the table is crazy. Oh, yeah, because it's literally just solid plastic there. Yeah, it's super cool. Okay, so side angle, if you want to see it this way, also looks pretty nice. The camera moved a little bit, so just move it slightly like this. RGB. In VIA, you can turn on the lights. Oh, there's RGB. I didn't even know. RGB. Okay, RGB. Lighting tab. Effect. Maybe a rainbow swirl is probably good with a faster effect. Ooh, I see. Sorry about the camera playing games here. And if I turn off the light, you can sort of see that. So, oops, sorry, lights it up like that. Look at that, bright. Sheesh, that's pretty sweet. Can you turn on the CMYK, please? Yes, turn on the printer, please. All right, look at that. That looks nice. All right, can you do all white or all blue? I could try that, yeah. I can do solid color. That's blue, I think, right? Yeah, or wait, oh, that's Winky, right? Side view, please. Okay. Oh yeah. What's the angle like? What's the angle on this, Clever? It's like, I don't know. What's this? Like 7? Maybe 8 degrees. 7.1. Oh, I was closer. Okay, so it is 8 degrees. Okay, I mean 7 degrees. My bad. Yeah, I was like, this is not 8. It's not as steep as an 8. MTNU made it look steeper. Yeah, slightly because of the profile being curved a little bit more towards the user. Yeah, that is true. All right, let's try this out, shall we? I believe I turn off the music now, and we can now give this a shot. All right, so let's get that typing test up. All right, friends. So here we got the Blue Ridge. The Blue Ridge is an EC and MX hybrid capable keyboard with friction fit / O-ring drop-in type of assembly. This one is currently in the electric capacitor over EC configuration, using all DynaCap parts, 45-gram actuation DOEMS, as well as the conical springs and the sliders, etc., with MTNU Dolch, a custom palm plate, which has been lubed with TriboSys 3204 and some 205 G0 for our stabs. And yeah, so let's try it out. All right, here we go. Choked there at the end, but alas, got really warm. So yeah, wow, that sounds really nice. I think the nicest part about this, to me, as someone coming in kind of like, you know, so like, let me sort of like compare, right? Like this is OEM HHKB, right? So integrated ABS plate, also lube with TriboSys 3204. I don't think this one has silencing rings, you know, so a little different. OEM-esque keycaps, right? Sounds very different. This does have silencing rings, so this one, you know, sounds a little different. right? So coming from like an OEM build, right? And coming to this and my experience from other like MX-ified EC boards is, first of all, I expect the keycap to make a lot more noise on the plate, the housing situation, the sliders themselves, MX sliders, even with the quote-unquote peak of MX sliders, which are typically Nova Touch sliders, like that's what people consider the gold standard for MX EC sliders, they don't sound that good. I'll be honest. MX-ified Topre isn't great in my experience. OEM has always been better, just especially because the way the keycaps sit on the slider. The OEM slider, basically, you know, I have a little pad, the Raita here with with one of the sliders in it, right? Basically, the keycap doesn't like grip tightly on the slider. Like the keycap doesn't grip on the slider because it kind of opens up and then just sort of like releases and it just kind of stays there. But on MX, you know, because of the way the cruciform, you know, is shaped, like, you know, the keycap kind of like, you know, tightly wraps around that stem and then just sort of like sits snug on there. So the way the keycaps feel is entirely different on MX versus Topre. So OEM for me has always been the gold standard for typing, and for like sound and the way the keycaps sound and all that. And this sounds really nice. Just right out of the bat, like I will say, at meetups, very hard to tell. Honestly, I almost never rate anything from my meetup experiences because it's pretty much impossible to hear. You can kind of tell by feel. You're also standing, which is different. So it's very different. But right out of the bat, it sounds really nice. No interference between the keycaps, none of that slider noise. I lubed the plate quite lightly, so it's you know, not doing that much work here, but it's nice and consistent. But sounds really, really nice, I'll have to say. So yeah, so quite nice. I have to give it to Clever. It's, with parts like this, I would be much more eager to do an MX-ified Topre build, and with the housing design, with the custom housing design and all that. So, all right. So yes, there's also the whole spacebar thing too with MX-ified Topre. You can't deal with the spacebar because you also have the 6U spacebar problem, from compatibility of the stabilizer itself to the keycap and having it and all that. So yeah, there's always issues with that, but yeah. All right, let me go through the mods. So I'll go through the mods. The 2U sounds good. The shift key. Very nice. Now alphas. You can tell the differences between the rows. It's nice and consistent. No extraneous sounds coming from one row or the other. So the whole keycap interference is gone. The stabilized keys sound pretty good. Really nice and stable spacebar. Very nice. Very, very nice. Really, really, really nice. Super nice. I really like this. It's super nice. And with MTNU, actually sounds spectacular too. Okay, I'm like really warm, so I'm gonna turn on the fan here. I'm like sweating bullets right now. It's like super hot in the room. I just 205 the wires. Yeah, I applied 205 on the side of the little inserts, and then on the loop area where the wire goes, and then on the wire. That's it. 205 for the stabs, 3204 everywhere else. It's humid in New York City and gross. Yes, it's quite nasty. It's been very hot today. Worked well, yeah. It's always worked wonders for me for Topre, like OEM too. Like, you know, this is OEM, and it's worked fine always. 205 has always worked fine for me for Topre, so I just stick to it. I told Diego in Korea my goal was to convince him DynaCap would rival OEM with MX Keycaps. I have to say it does. I should talk a little bit about the domes. I talked about the sliders, the stems, very nice, good fitment. I do appreciate how, you know, I saw how the cylinder, the barrel was like slightly shorter than the stem portion, but even then, you know, I can see that the keycap, you know, the fitment of them, and even with this whole friction fit system, the proportions are all nice. No exposed portions here and whatnot. No keycap is taller than the other. The consistency here is pretty good. The alignment is pretty good. There is a very minor alignment thing that they're actually working on fixing, but at a quick glance, you can't even tell. There's almost, actually, it's nearly impossible to tell, especially with MTNU. And on the two stabilizers, apparently it's like slightly crooked, I think you said, but I can't even tell. Let's talk about the domes though. So these domes are supposed to be 45 gram actuation. So that is to say that they are very similar to the feeling of OEM Topre. The weighting in particular. And I will say they are awfully close. Really, really nice. Like, there's a lot of stuff out there that's on the heavy side. Always very close to 55, very snappy. There's always the BK type of stuff. There's the lighter stuff, like the 35, 38, whatever, right, that we see. These 45, really close. If you really like that stock HHKB type of experience with these domes that are not too heavy, but also not too light, which in terms of bottom out, this ends up being around 60 something. These 45 gram DynaCap domes, really good weighting, really, really nice. I totally would use these domes as a replacement portion on an OEM board, like, for sure. Certainly different. There's subtleties, like these do feel, maybe because these are new, or perhaps because these are just differently made, but these do feel, there's a slight snappiness to them, but it still feels, weight-wise, it still feels about the same for me to actuate and bottom out on these as I would for OEM 45 gram. So that's what I have to say about the domes. Very happy about them. Very, very nice. They do have a slightly extra snappiness. Actually, it's like, you know how people talk about like Pro 2 or Pro 1 domes or whatever domes that are like slightly aged and they have that slight bit of extra snappiness? Well, actually for Pro 1 stuff, it's like very snappy sometimes. It's just a slight bit of that. Just tiny bit. Especially on the upstroke, it's a little bit more noticeable than the downstroke. I don't really notice resistance on the way down, but on the way up, I can feel the rebound being a little bit, like, just quicker, slightly snappier than OEM, which actually is closer on the mushy side compared to other third-party aftermarket domes, right? That we've seen so far. So yeah. But very nice. Does it sound a bit rattly dry in person? It sounds a bit like that to me. Yeah. So it also depends on the housing and all these different aspects, but Topre in general kind of sounds like that. I mean, it's like a tactile switch. I would say like on OEM Topre, it's a little bit different, especially with all this like full plastic thing. And also, I guess here I'm also using different keycaps. So there's also the keycap thing and the stem thing and the, you know, slider thing, right? But Topo in general does have a little bit of that like rattly, dry sort of sound to them. That said, I also did lube this one very lightly, very lightly. So you'll definitely hear more on the dry side of things than on the like more heavily lubed side of things. Just FYI. But all right, let me do one more test on this with MTNU, and let me take a look if I do have those space bars. I do have a spacebar set here from CRP, and I need to see if it's compatible with 6U. Let's see, CRP R4 white. I think this looks like 6U to me, but does this have a center stem? Okay, I could try these white. I have a 6U spacebar here actually. It might work. We can see with a white set, but we can try CRP later. It'll be like a white set, though it won't look as good, but yeah. All right, let me try a test one more time. If you hear sounds in the background, just my partner playing games. Hope that's fine. All right, let's try it out one more time. Oh, let me try again. I'll type a little bit more slowly. I hear Zenyatta orbs from Overwatch. She is playing Overwatch. We've been on an Overwatch kick ever since they brought back 6v6. I just hit diamond for the first time earlier. Oh, congrats! We don't play comp. We're QP losers. So there's that. Again, mods. Oh, I guess we play Stadium sometimes too. But yeah, we're not super interested in comp stuff, so yeah. All right, that's Blue Ridge with MTNU. I can show it off briefly. Maybe I'll actually leave it like this, and then maybe that'll be our thumbnail for the night. It's gonna be this look. Looks really nice. Okay, let's go ahead and put some CRP on this now, right? I think that's what someone was asking about. So, oh, as you can see, this just kind of came out, but just slips back in. Okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take off the keycaps. And yes, MTNU does look really nice on this. I would say it's also because the board, yeah, is definitely like curvier, and like the corners are a little bit more rounded, thicker bezels, kind of works with that whole like big legend spherical profile kind of look that MTNU provides. MTNU is, I guess, is the right way to say it, but yeah. Let us put some other keycaps on this. I will, for now, put some music back on. What's your opinion on the AE switches? Okay, so the AE switches, personally, I think they're pretty nice. Okay, there are some things for them to fix, for example, that I personally thought. Number one for me was the fact that they have to have the silencing rings. But also, if you take them off, they don't sound particularly great, in my opinion. You know, could be a downside for the people who just by default use silencing rings, which actually I do. It was fine, but I personally found it on the quieter side. So it was like okay, but I personally would have preferred to find a little bit more like that, like EC type of like sound to it, which I didn't find as much on the AE switches. But they're good. Like implementation wise, I think they're super smart. The fact that these domes sort of like clutch to the switch was kind of ingenious. And I also one thing I provided as feedback was that the switches also don't like how do I explain it, like they would like the switches would come off pretty easily from the socket, essentially from like the switch plate, and that's because the clips wouldn't like attach as firmly. So that was kind of like somewhat annoying sometimes when if you like have to swap keycaps and things like that. Just like a typical like hot swap socket sort of situation to deal with, which was, you know, a little bit meh. But you know, there was that. But yeah, I think like feel wise though they're pretty good. I did like them a lot. But I would say like sound wise, I think I would have preferred a little bit more from them. Alright, so I got CRP R5 Irish here. Is the only set that I think I have compatible with this particular spacebar. So let's work with that. Alright. Me like green? Me too. I love green. But does green make you feel special things? Sorry. But yes, I'm very excited for this new era of EC stuff in general. Like, I think there's so much good stuff out there now with, like, you know, this is certainly a huge step in, I guess, the right direction, so to speak. Just, you know, just generally an exciting time to be into keyboards and experience this change. I'm a fan. The Blue Ridge here and a lot of DynaCap stuff will certainly change my mind on how I feel about EC kits. Which before, I mean, I felt like they were fine, but I certainly didn't ever feel like spending money on them. To be completely fair, you know, I'm not really looking for a lot of new keyboard stuff, so I guess you wouldn't expect me to be looking for a lot of new stuff in keyboards, but I would be much more open to it than I ever was before. Alright, let's see. Okay. What am I missing? I'm missing like a bunch of stuff here. Short shift. Do you go what GMK set? Would you go with a dark green case? You have a few options, but I think one of the most popular ones might be GMK Taiga or GMK BRG type of sets. You could also go with GMK Nuke Data if you wanted something more monochrome-esque. I don't know. What do you think about those? Dandy? Yeah, Dandy could look good if you want some contrast, dark green versus light green type of aesthetic. For that, Dandy is a good set. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can always do beige, of course. Never miss with beige. Missing a couple of number keys somewhere. Just trying to look for it. Here's one, and where's the other one? The 0 key. Okay. Taiga is really good. Yeah, Taiga's a good set. For real. I still vote Zooted. Ah, Zooted's nice. Yes. Did I miss a clever typing test that Drew was bugging about? You only missed the one with MTNU, but I'm about to type on it with CRP. All right. Let's try a couple of other artisans, maybe. Maybe I'll try one for an accent. And one for, actually, maybe that's fine. All right. But Drew is always bugging. Is that right, Drew? Are you always? Alright. Let us try this out now with CRP. Alright. Sorry about the sound in the background, just game sounds. Hope that's okay. Alright. Let's try it now with CRP. Maybe this time I'll turn off the. Maybe I should turn off the. Maybe I'll turn off the lighting this time just for fun. All right. All right. This time with CRP. Here we go. think I like the MTNU spacebar, but the CRP alphas are better. I do like the CRP alphas a little bit more too, I would say. I think I do agree with that. I do think the MTNU spacebar sounded really good though. Yeah. It's bouncing hella. Yeah, part of it is the mat for sure, and also the bump bonds are a little bit on the thicker side, so it's kind of like sinking into the mat, right? The bump bonds are a little thick. But I like the bump bonds being thick, to be personally honest, because it also isolates the case from the desk mat and the desk in general. So actually you hear more of just the pure assembly sound rather than hearing it with the rumbling of the desk. So I prefer it when the bump bonds actually separate the case from the rest. That ends up being nicer in my opinion. So there's that. Yes, I can definitely show I'll show everything up close actually. So, but yeah, let me go through the mods real quick. Here are the mods for CRP. The best part is this, cherry profile, no interference. This is super nice. This is a godsend for ECMX conversions. Very nice, nice spacebar. All right, and then I can show it off. So let's move on to this camera. I don't know why VIA is open. Close that. And all right, so I'll put it up close a little bit. You guys can see the board. All right, so here is the Blue Ridge. As you can see, the spacing of the sliders, crookedness, anything like that, I personally would say it's damn good. Fitment, keycap fitment, spacing, all that kind of stuff, really nice, nice and even. Really, really good. Alignment and everything, that's always a concern. Here is one corner, this side for the long blocker. And then we have the bottom here. Sorry about the stains and whatnot. Just a little, my hands are a little clammy. And then you can see, yeah, the case kind of goes all the way through. You can, it's just pure plastic here. So even the blockers you can show all the way to the bottom. Very nice, nice and thick bezels, but looking very, very nice. Why very nice and smoke? Yeah, nice contrast. I do like the extra green on top for the Irish set. But yeah, it's you can see the friction fit mount over here. The little tabs over there, very nice and subtle, very nicely placed USB port centered. We have the nice mountain range here shown in the back. But yeah, even with CRP caps, as you can see, the keycaps do remain in the you know, within the bezel, within the walls, I guess, of the board. So wall height and all that, even with CRP and all that, they look great. Because as you might know, CRP is not a recessed keycap compared to cherry profile. So very, very nice looking side profile. And yeah, as you can see, the bump ons are on the thicker side, nice and tall. And as whoopsie, as Clever was alluding earlier, the feet are custom dogwood flower shape. Sorry about the extra hair over there. And there is our Blue Ridge weight. You can see the daughter board cable over there and the daughter board itself, the hot swap sockets from the MX components, as well as the little circles for the EC portions of it. But Very nice. Really clean. But really nice board here. Really like it. I can't say bad things about it. There's like, I want to be more critical about it, but I mean, if I were critical, it's subjective stuff. Like, I prefer different bezel proportions, things like that. But like, it's done really well. I guess I will say, I guess this friction fit is probably not as super tight. It's tight enough though. It doesn't like come right off. There we go. It came off. So it does come off if you like shake it, but you know, it's pretty tight in there. One of the tabs came off, so just put it on there. And then, but you know, it's the same. It's about the same as like a unicorn, which also comes off if you like shake it. So there's that. Is there a little hole for you to put a tool in to pull out? Yeah, I guess you could probably do that, right? Could you just do it from like maybe the, what's the easiest part to do that with? I'm like after looking at it. What would be the easiest portion for you to like get this out of the, I mean, I guess you can just kind of pull it from up here. There is a friction fit tool for this. Oh, near the W. And okay, I see. Near the W. Do what Diego did, just shake it. Shake it. Shake it. Yes, but let's see. Near the W and the near here. I'm looking for it now. Can we hear a GMK spacebar? Yeah, I could put a GMK spacebar on this. I guess. Oh, yes, I see it now. It's here. This part here. There's a hole. Let me show you. This part here, right? And then this here, the thumb screw goes in there, yeah. So there is a thumb screw in the case. I'm not sure if you saw it earlier. I can show you. This guy. And then you just pull. You know, you can just, you know, pull. But yeah. Same thing on the other side. You can just screw it in a little and then just pull. Pretty neat. Oh, Mr. Frank, hello. How are you? We missed you at KeyCon, buddy. I'm not sure I'll be able to make it to Keep Life, but I would love to try. Somebody asked for a GMK spacebar, is that right? Let me see if I have a 6U somewhere. What sets have a 6U? Someone, I guess any of the recent ones might. GMK. Let me get a spacebar kit. I moved the date for Keep Light just for you to come. Oh my god. You told me not to do on Labor Day weekend. Okay, I will not deny that because you did. I did say that. Yes, I moved it 1 week back. I know you did. Yes, I just have to see. I spent my vacation days earlier this year, and my work's been a little iffy in some regards. But I made the KeyCon because it was like just a weekend, which didn't intrude on anything. But I'll see if I can do something about it. But yeah. What's in the way of your face cam? Oh, it's the mic. This thing. It's the mic thing. GMK spacebar. Let me find a set that has that. What's that? What's that has a spacebar? Anything with a spacebar kit, I guess. I'll just grab a random spacebar kit from here. Let's see, 6U, 6U, 6U. Does this have a 6U? That looks like a 625U to me. Yep, that's a 625. I don't think this has a 6U, huh? Analog greens? Nope, I don't think it does. 6U, 6U. Sets have 6U these days, huh? Okay, this is a random spacebar, but I think this has a 6U. I think that's a 6U. Randomly colored. Good evening, LFK. Hello, how are you? Okay, that's a GMK spacebar, so ABS. Sleepy but chilling? Okay. Alright, I'll turn off the music here. Put the mic back where it was here. Alright, so now with GMK spacebar and PVT caps. This is CRP still, okay? For the alphas. So that's kind of how it sounds. And if I just press it independently, that's how it sounds. Pretty nice. But yeah, I do think I really like the MTNU one. The MTNU one sounded really good. I can put that back on actually. If I wanted to just kind of compare. Yeah, so this is still well, obviously the alphas won't sound the same, but yeah. A little bit more muted, but I would say pretty nice nonetheless. So that's how it sounds. Put the CRP one back. PVT. A little bit more poppy sort of sounding, I would say. Can't believe someone made an HKB layout EC board. What do you mean? Isn't that like the obvious thing to make if it's easy? EC, sorry, rather. All right, so that's the Blue Ridge. If you guys have any other questions or anything. Wow, it's been a fairly long stream today, huh? How do these dome springs feel compared to others? Conical springs, I mean, there's some quality of life improvements between the springs and the domes that match well together. So I think when paired together, they're pretty nice. Compared to others, conical springs, I don't really have much to say. Just because I haven't done like an A/B comparison between that. But the domes feel great. They are very, like I was saying, that the 45 gram rating on these is pretty close to OEM, with a slight extra rebound, I would say, like a slight extra upstroke, kind of vibrance or more, just more, you know, more oomph to it, but still, you know, very close in weighting to 45 gram actuation domes from OEM, so pretty nice. They do feel nice and snappy, so personally, you know, if I were going for a third-party alternative for a OEM replacement, these are very good. I would definitely be happy with them. So pretty nice domes in my opinion. Not too snappy, you know, like not BKE, that kind of mess, like, you know, like crazy tactile stuff. So pretty good. The board itself feels really nice. I have no bad things to say about it, really. It's a beautiful board. There's a lot of little things, attention to detail, that I think worked out really nicely. Pretty much covers everything. Like, I obviously haven't tried it in MX, so I can't say much about the MX form, but the EC was as it was intended to be built. It really covers all the grounds that it needs to have. It does accomplish this kind of gasket mount feel to the case with like that softness to it, while still having that like more OEM HKB like feel thanks to the palm plate that it's using. But yeah, no, for an MX-ified EC build, it's peak. It's really good. It's really good. So that's mostly what I have to say about it. How does O-ring EC feel? I would say this is more like friction. It's not quite O-ring, right? Because the EC actually is the EC build actually uses these friction fit, you know, little gaskets. But basically it's the similar feel as what an O-ring might feel like, because it basically sits on those pillars. But you know, it's cushioned. It's well cushioned. It's not overly soft. Actually, when you see the board sort of move down a bit, is actually coming from it's the case bump-ons kind of sinking into the desk mat a bit. So if I actually press the desk mat and press the board here, like actually if I press the board rather, and then press like this, you see no movement, right? So like not that much movement on the plate, like the plate movement is not that significant, so it's like on the more solid side, but it's not like mushy or like extra trampoline bouncy. So definitely one of the best EC aftermarket EC type of experience I've had, for sure. It's the pairing between the domes and the sliders and the keycaps and the mounting and all this. They're working in tandem really nicely. They're working like a well-oiled machine, so to speak, and it's just, you know, very well done. So I have high compliments for this board. It's really nice. It's comfortable to use. Like, if this were a replacement for You say you wanted an HHKB, but you wanted MX. This is an excellent choice. Like, I can't say no to that. That said, if you're not into the aesthetics, that's just your own thing. But that said, at least the parts will be out there, so you will always have the choice to, you know, there will be more out there, I'm sure, once the parts get out there, once more people start developing with it and designing around it and all that. So it's a great start. It's a great platform. Oh my god, what's going on? Someone's looking for something. How did the divots feel for the palms? Personally, I don't really like. Oh my god, what's happening? What are you looking for? I'm not sure if you guys heard all the drawer opening and closing in the back. Sorry about that. It's all the ruckus is just someone's looking for something and they can't find it, so they're just, what are you looking for? That's the cons of living in a smaller space. Anyway, Kiwi playing with plastic? No, just someone looking for something. But I float my arms, so I don't really do this. Like, I don't really put my palms down here. So unless you are the type of person who types like this, yeah. But I don't really do that as much. Like, I might rest my arms like maybe all the way down here towards the desk, but not here at the edge of the keyboard. So I wouldn't personally feel this divot much. Searching for the Overwatch win, they say. Did you win? Oh, you won? Oh, nice. Congrats. Okay. Are you getting robbed? Kiwi looking for snackies, they say. Oh, can you hear Kiwi, though? Kiwi! Oh, he's so demanding. He wants to go outside. Oh, Kiwi. Alright. But yes, if you're like resting, I think this could be a nice portion, kind of ergonomic shape. It's pretty nice. Anyhow, Blue Ridge, I have great high compliments to say about the board, and I'm very excited for this to kind of get to people's hands. I would love to see more people talk about it, more people kind of review it themselves and check it out and all that, and see what they feel about DynaCap and all the parts coming together. I think I got teased a little bit of it before, and now I actually get to try it, and I think it's really nice. It's really nice. Yes, so the MX build is O-ring. So MX standard plate, so 1.5 millimeter plate. You're basically, you know, like your unicorn type of build, right? So regular plate, regular PCB, or well, in this case the same PCB, and you build MX O-ring, boom. 4.5 millimeter plate. The O-ring doesn't fit in between because the plate occupies the whole space between the plate and the PCB, so there's no O-ring to put there. EC is the same idea. You can see that the plate itself it covers the entirety of the surrounding, it covers the entirety of the thing. It compresses the you know, the sides of the domes, well, not the domes themselves, but you know, the sheet, and puts, you know, the screws put it all together. So there's no space for an O-ring. So when you don't have space for an O-ring, what you need to do to kind of friction fit this around those pillars is you use those gaskets that are kind of like little tabs that just kind of clip onto the plate assembly. So that's what it's doing. Yeah, so MX is O-ring, EC is not. I should clarify it again. MX is O-ring, EC is not, but it replicates the feel because you have these gaskets sitting on top of those same pillars that it would on O-ring. And it's also having friction fit against the wall of the case, which is similar to what's happening in O-ring, except obviously the O-ring covers the whole ground of the perimeter, and so that's how you get the fitment working as well. I did. The first versions had it, then I thought it could be better. There you go. Clever explaining here that iterations had it, and now it's different. Yeah. So, but very nice. I think it's done quite nicely. I have no complaints whether it's O-ring or not, because it does feel pretty great. So nice set of artisans. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so I guess I shall wrap things up here. It's been a long one. I shall check for, I suppose, who to raid. I know that, once again, big thank you to Alex and Lamp for the raids earlier. Big thank you to them. Big thanks to all the folks who subscribe, Prime, and renewing and otherwise. Danny, Lamp, Tashimi, Frank, ODM, among others, Secret Myth, Hubert. Oh, Hubert, I didn't see you. Sorry. Mad Max came by earlier too. Oh my gosh, thank you. Mason, thank you guys. Appreciate you all. It was really busy just juggling all this stuff together. So sorry if I missed your sub or something that you might have mentioned. If you have any questions, always feel free to address them directly to me. But you know, I try to answer most people's questions when it comes to builds and stuff. Like sometimes people would comment on the YouTube videos or will like leave me a message, and I'll try to respond to things. I can't be your one-to-one consultant on things, but I try to answer things. So you know, if you have like questions, like simple, easy questions, you can always feel free to ask. But yeah. Okay, let's wrap it up here. Let's see. I don't think there is any keyboard folks online now. Tomorrow is Juneteenth for folks in the US, so if you you know, have a holiday tomorrow, I hope you enjoy it. Otherwise, I suppose I shall just raid the ducks, the dash ducks. I saw Simon raid them earlier, so we can go raid the ducks. They're chilling. All right, folks. Thank you again. I really appreciate you all. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I certainly did. It was a long and fun build. Coming up pretty soon, I think on Friday, I plan to do a TechBear 65F, TB65F build. That one came from Win Studio and TechBear Studio in China. And next week or this weekend, depending on my schedule, I'm trying to see if it fits in this weekend, I'll be building a JJW Cloudline V2 pretty soon. And then I think after that, there won't be any streams until the end of the month, or rather, beginning of next month, because I am moving. I'm moving in a couple of weeks, so I'll probably be busy packing and moving and all that. So apologize, but after the Cloudline build, it's unlikely that I'll have more builds. I may be able to squeeze in a special build, or rather a build for the upcoming Key Cult 1-800 that Nalakis is running. They will be sending a unit for that soonish. I also need to prep switches, which is a lot of switches. So, but anyway, that might be in July instead, though. But TBD. I think the Cloudline really will be the last one for this month, though, most likely. So, anyway, yeah, 2 more streams, and then I move, and then I'll probably see you at the new space. But I appreciate you guys again for all the support, and as always, your enthusiasm around here. Okay, I think that's it. All right, let's go raid the Dash Ducks. I shall see you all later. Enjoy your evening or morning or day if you're out there in the other side of the world. Enjoy Juneteenth if you're here in the US and have the holiday off. But otherwise, chat, thank you. I will see you later. Thank you again. Good night, and bye-bye.